Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Edmond, your host for the next 2 hours, along with Mike.
Hello.
Good morning. And Nick is here.
Hello.
And Spence is here.
Good morning. I always like hearing you on the guitar on Sunday mornings, Edmond.
And Jorvik is here.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is being brought to you by vMix Software, by Telestream Wirecast Software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. What are you smiling about, Nick?
Nothing. I'm not smiling.
Okay.
Not me. I'll smile. I'm a very mean person.
Uh-huh.
I'm just smiling.
Yeah.
He's got an extended frown.
So
yes, there you go. Exactly.
So I moved a little bit outside the data center.
I cannot believe you're using that background.
Well,
after all the conversation we had.
I know, but I don't have something else that I can use that has contrast.
The guy in the back, the far background on the right, he must get really tired standing there.
They're just standing there.
It has not moved.
He's busy. He's a data system administrator, working hard.
That's it.
Let's see. I mean, you have a complaint about that?
You're just gonna zoom him out. Let's test your vMix action live.
That's not here. Let's see. That's here. Hush up.
You could get. Why don't you get a clip?
Okay, it's one.
Even if it's just a 10-second clip, and you can loop it.
That's what I told him.
Yeah, but I couldn't find one. I just couldn't find one. I mean,
I'll find you something. I'll find something with a mainframe on fire in the background.
Yeah.
And people running with fire extinguishers to put it out. We'll use that.
There you go. Wow.
Okay, how's
that?
that?
High tech. Hot damn.
Is that better?
Much better.
Spence?
What's better?
The guys are not there anymore, are they?
Oh, what happened? You fired them?
I fired them. I threw them out.
Or you just zoomed in on the picture?
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. So we have Jorvik, who hasn't been here the last few weeks. Jorvik, you doing okay?
Yeah, doing fine, thanks.
Good.
Yeah, doing okay.
We're kind of worried about you guys across the pond. I don't know what happened to Steve. I have not.
Steve's gone to ground. I haven't heard from Steve for ages.
He's working on some Brexit negotiations.
We can't make fun of him. So anything shattering happened this week that you guys want to talk about before we get into all kind of...
Oh, it's a very special day for one of our co-hosts, Amnon.
It's a birthday.
Yes.
Everybody sing together. Happy birthday,
Happy birthday to you, Mike. Happy birthday
to Mike. Happy birthday. Are we going to get sued?
That is not making this day better.
Oh, okay.
What if we sing it in a different pitch? Would that make it better? On pitch would be fine, but you have not even approached that yet.
Mike, how does it feel to be 70 years old?
I wouldn't know. I was going to ask you. Oh, how does it feel to feel like you're 70 years old?
That's
that
right.
I can.
Yeah, I can attest to
No,
that.
I'm
too.
very lucky. I'm 64, and I'm glad to be here, and I'm even gladder that I've enjoyed the good health that I've enjoyed over the years.
Knock on
All
wood.
joking aside, happy birthday, Mike.
Up till now, right?
Well, you never know.
He takes.
In
care
fact,
of
now I'm
himself.
depressed. I've got to go.
Well, see you later, Mike. We'll see you next time.
Mike, take it from me. It gets better every day.
Yeah, that's what.
There is an urgent care open on Sunday if you need to rest.
Yeah, who can afford to go?
Just don't pay. Just tell them, yeah, I got insurance.
Yeah, well, the problem is that you go over to the urgent care, or now they've got these deals where they want you to call them on Skype.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah,
You can pay to a doctor. How much have you done that before?
I have. I paid it
that
out of my pocket for my daughter whenever she had some bug bites, and she was having an allergic reaction, which I didn't think was urgent enough to go to urgent care. Plus, there wasn't one open at 10 o'clock at night, and it was $50. But then my work insurance changed to a new company that includes payment for virtual. A lot of them will do it for free to get you to use that instead of going to the doctor. Some of them charge 10. Ours is $15 to get a virtual doctor.
And is it a service?
Yeah, you actually Skype with the doctor, and they tell you to cough and all that crap. And then if you need a prescription, they'll write you one.
If they tell you to bend over, how do you handle that with the camera?
I do that all the time on cameras.
Virtual drugs, Mike?
Say again, we got too many people talking at once.
Virtual drugs?
No, they give you real drugs. They call it into your local drug dealer.
Can you divulge the name of the service?
I don't know what the name of it was. The one we did in Cary was.
It's local.
Yeah, the one. Well, they're trying to have national reach, but they happen to be in Cary. The doctor that we talked to was at home. I had to tell her how to hook up her microphone.
He was in the parking lot of Walmart using the free Wi-Fi.
Yeah, something like that.
His back of his pickup truck.
Interesting. How much is it out of pocket if you don't? $50, you said?
The one we went to was $50.
We get through Pam's benefits now something called Teledoc.
Okay.
And you sign up for it's the same thing, and it's free to use for if you're part of the benefits program. And once you
should look into that.
Mine's not free, but
it's free. They pay for it, so they want you to use it. It's free to use to consult with the doctor.
Any insurance company in its right mind would make them free, but ours is $15.
That's still, you think about it. I went to urgent care when I was in Alaska, and it was $300.
Right.
And it was out of network, and plus I hadn't made the deductible, so I had to pay the whole thing.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know how much it costs to spend one night in Rex Hospital?
No. How much?
$15,000.
Does that include wine?
WAIN. You can whine all you want about it, and it won't make any difference. They're still going to screw you.
There was a bottle of wine sold in California for $350,000 yesterday.
Worth it. Every drop.
2015 Cabernet.
2016?
2015. Yeah, it's not even old.
Wow.
Some celebrity charity
that's people paying more for something that's not worth it just so they could say they paid more.
Yes, exactly. Correct.
I was actually, Mike, you're talking about how much it cost. I was actually surprised yesterday. After I had to take Kathy with a kidney stone to the hospital. So we got the ambulance, and we have that insurance that we pay Wake County ambulance thing, $50 a year or whatever. And I was holding her driver's license, her insurance card, and a credit card in my hand. And all the way from when I left the house, all the way through when we got back to the house, nobody asked for any of these. It was amazing. I'm saying, you know, what are you just trying to spare us the pain of knowing how much this is going to cost that you're not telling us now? But nobody
Well,
asked.
they didn't want you to have a heart attack on the same
I
visit
guess.
and then have to treat
But yeah, not a one asked for insurance card, or I mean, she just said that she's a state employee, and that was kind of like, okay, fine. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out because
a fellow that Nick and I know very well had a really something was going wrong. He felt like he was very sick. He waited it out till finally he decided he'd better go to the emergency room. He went to the emergency room. They kept him in the emergency room overnight to observe him. When all it was over and done, the lab tests were done. He determined he had a bad cold, and it was $10,000.
yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a big bill for her too, because that's where she was, in the emergency room. But we only were there about 6 hours.
Not to get political with it. Well,
But go ahead and get political.
Okay. I mean, that's the root of the problem. Not, I mean, we can talk about insurance issues and Obamacare and healthcare and all these things. The big problem is that you have to go to the hospital overnight and it costs $10,000. $10,000.
And those numbers have been falsely inflated by the legislation. People raised their rates. But doctors were required to charge more. It was incredible. That's my family doctor charges on a scale of complexity, low, medium, high complexity visits. It's incredible. If you ask him about 2 things going wrong, it goes into medium complexity.
Seems like that needs to be addressed before we worry about any of the other.
How are you going to address it?
I don't know.
Nick and I also have a mutual relationship with a doctor who sold his practice because he said his income dropped by 2/3 because of insurance reimbursement.
Yeah, a lot of doctors are closing their.
Well, I'm telling you that
Practices.
more money is flowing from people into healthcare when you look at these ridiculous, insurance premiums that we're paying. We were supposed to get a $2,500 reduction. In some cases, it's gone from, in one case I saw it went from $800 a month to $3,200 a month. Where's that money going? It's going to the insurance companies, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Mm.
That's the only thing they had to do that in order to get them to sign up for this crazy program.
Well, some would argue that they bought their way into it.
That's possible.
Like the solar industry.
Yes. Oh. I went back, just this is an aside. If anybody has never, people know who Michael Crichton is, the author. Don't realize that he was actually a medical doctor as well as other things. Very smart man, died of cancer about 5 or 6 years ago. And he has a series of, you could look it up, just do a search on a series of lectures that he did. And I'm not going to tell you what they're about, but just go check out Michael Crichton lectures, and the transcripts are available of these. Fascinating perspective on what we're in today from back in like 2003 and 2004, saying this is what our future is going to be. And boy, did he nail it.
Okay. I was told the same stuff in 1976 when I met my father-in-law, who was a dentist.
Well,
so did he tell you about the secret vaccine for tooth decay that's in a safe somewhere at the American Dental Association?
No.
That's not true?
No.
Did he tell you about fluoride-free toothpaste?
He did tell me that all these various brands and additives are a scam. He said the abrasive element of toothpaste is what works, not all the crap they put in it.
All right,
Oyster shell, right? Typically,
I don't know.
crushed oyster shells. That's why you have to look if people are vegetarian or true vegan and they don't eat any animal at all. You have to buy the right toothpaste.
Well, who eats toothpaste?
Fluoride-free.
Well, it's in your mouth, so I guess it really is. It's like if you there are foods you're not supposed to eat. If you chew it and spit it out, does that count as calories?
You're not supposed to eat the toothpaste?
They tell you not to. That's not good for you. They don't want you to ingest it.
I could imagine.
It's poisonous.
Oh, that's reassuring.
Isn't that something? Yeah. The Russians, they had the right idea for a long time. They brushed their teeth with salt. And they had a lot lower incidence of tooth problems, but they also didn't eat as much sugar as we do.
I know some people who used to use baking soda.
Oh, yeah. No, that was a once a week in my family when we were kids, just to freshen your breath and keep your teeth white.
Would you mix it with water and then use it and use the paste?
Like a
You,
paste.
you put a little bit on your toothbrush, just the powder. If you wet your toothbrush, you could get
Oh,
it
I
to
guess
stick to it and just brush
Yeah.
with that. Yeah.
Interesting.
I use a belt sander.
That works very well.
Or
Scrub
planer.
scrub your problems away, no problem.
See, Gene was talking about, on chat, he was talking about the first two, what did he say? That he said when you hit 65, you enter the third age of living. And I said, the problem, Gene, is the third age of living is a lot shorter than the first two. And then Gene said, well, the first two are education and vocation, and the third, you do whatever the hell you want to when you want to. And then he said, the secret is if you screw up the first two, you will never enjoy the third. Well, Gene, it's a little late for that.
You have 1 year to fix it.
I don't want to know about that.
Yeah.
That's what Mike says.
I am just as an aside, I am just staggered by sometimes you hear the statistics about people with a relatively large income have no savings and aren't saving any money. And just lifestyle is the most important thing. It's not ingrained in your head to prepare for the future. So we're going to have to find Amnon. We need to set up a walled compound somewhere, a defensible position that we can all retreat to when the apocalypse comes.
Yeah.
Am I invited?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. I'm not too far away.
As long, and just like it'll be just like The Walking Dead. If you have a skill and a contribution, you're welcome in the community.
I mean, I can complain a lot. That might be useful.
That would be.
You can play video games.
Yeah.
All night long.
It's got to be useful. It got to be useful somehow.
I've got something that it's got nothing to do with computers at this point.
No, I'm sorry. This is a computer
That
show,
I-
Amnon.
That I
Yeah,
just
I'm sorry, caller. Try again.
that I need to get out because I've learned so much about it. A lot of people watch that Vietnam documentary by Ken Burns and whatever.
Yep.
And I watched it, and I thought that from the days that I'm doing, from all this period that I'm doing the Lessons of Vietnam show on Nissan Communications, I learned a few things. I said, that doesn't sound right. Last Wednesday, actually the last two shows were analysis of that documentary, but last Wednesday we had R.J. Del Vecchio, who is a historian, who is a local guy, who is a Vietnam vet. And he had, I mean, we could do 10 shows, but he had points of what things that stick in people's head that well, I should say that people don't pay attention to, but apparently the whole series was skewed to make people feel that the Vietnam War was, I mean, something that the United States just committed atrocities. And the only people back then that believed in that were the anti-war protesters. Apparently, Ken Burns had two advisors that were helping him with that. Both were war protesters. one of the things that always, even when I was in Israel, I remember that the Vietnamese that shot that other guy right there in front of people, shot him right in the head. Everybody remembers that
massacre
picture. They said, well, that's okay to show, but you have to remember something. You're not seeing the rest of it. This guy was not just picked out from the street and suspicion that he was a Viet Cong and was shot like that. That guy, the night before, went and assassinated a whole family, kids, women, and one of the father. I mean, just killed them, and not the easy way. They didn't get into that. They were looking for him for that whole day. They knew who he was, and finally they caught him. And when you're in the, what did they say? He said that that's the way that it is if you are caught committing an atrocity, shooting people, and you're not in uniform, then you can get executed right on the spot. This is like all over the world. I mean,
that's typical. That's typical in any army.
Yeah,
any,
that's
any
what I'm saying.
Situation like that. If you're out of uniform, you're a spy.
Yeah, so that's
And
what
spies are shot.
that's what brought to that, but that's not the way that they projected. It was like, okay, they found somebody. He said they didn't just find somebody waving the Viet Cong flag and shot him. No, this was a whole, and he goes through all these things that they did throughout the documentary that really were, I mean, wow, I didn't know that.
Revisionist history. I also
Yeah.
read an article where they came out with points about what in the documentary was wrong. And the whole sentiment is wrong. That's the problem. They're coming from a position.
Let me jump in here a second. And I don't mean this to be unkind, but since you brought it up, I'm going to tell you the whole scoop here. If you watch that documentary without knowing who Ken Burns is, then you deserve what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a totally, just call it conspiracy if you want to, conspiracy news network, the way they're going after Trump on this made up Russian bull crap. The point being that Ken Burns is part of the smear of the left. He's nothing but one of them. He's of the same mindset, of the same attitude. If you watch, it's sort of like watching CNN. If you watch it and believe it, you deserve what you get. And that's who Ken Burns is. He's just one of the left. He's beyond liberal. He's all the way to progressive.
And the worry that they have here, the local Vietnam vets who are, a lot of them, I mean, the North Carolina Vietnam vets are teaching it in schools all over the country. And they're afraid that this documentary will become the standard in a lot of schools. And kids are going to get their mind warped thinking that this is really what happened. So,
want to get their minds warped?
I was getting ready to say, is this a little late for that?
I don't know. You
It's
can.
Those minds are already warped. They're already been indoctrinated.
Look at Nick.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
So to just, I mean, if you watched it and you want to see the other side, and you should, you can go to NissanCommunications.com, click on the on demand, and click on Lessons of Vietnam, and it's the latest one. It's at the very top. It's with R.J. Del Vecchio. Watch it. It is.
But let me tell you,
very,
the
very
frustrating thing is that it's not going to happen. People who should watch that are not going to watch it because they're lazy.
Yeah.
People are lazy. They're willing to watch what CNN hands them and accept it as true, and go out and gripe, moan, and complain, then go out to the bar and have a few $6, $8 drinks and complain about not having enough money to pay for health care.
Yeah.
Fact.
I know, but I mean, I want to do my part, and I want to let people know. So,
And I applaud you for that. Absolutely. I'm 100% in full support of the truth being made available. And I think everybody should watch it. It's no argument there. I'm just saying it's unfortunate that this should have been done a long time ago. To me, it's just like these women coming after Weinstein or whatever his name is, and coming after all these politicians, most of them, of course, on the opposite side from me. So you can tell I'm trying to be reasonable and fair about it. But the fact of the matter is that over time, things change. People die. The guilty parties die. Good people forget, and the past becomes distorted over time. That's why in the law, there's a statute of limitations on legal actions for certain things, because memories fade, evidence disappears. If someone, no one should have to be subjected to sexual discrimination. Absolutely should be actionable. If the fact that I'm either going to do it or lose my career, and you choose your career, then you chose the consequences. At some point, you've got to stand up and do what's right. It takes bravery. It takes guts to do it. And unfortunately, that's where we are. You have to take the Harvey Weinstein thing. If somebody says, hey, you got to come to the casting couch or your career's over, well, that's abusive, but I've got no choice. No, you do have a choice. And then if you choose to do it, or anyone, not just him, I don't know anything about him, but someone forces himself on or herself on you, and you want to report it, then you need to report it within a reasonable period of time so that action can be taken. Now, what all that has to do with Vietnam, Amnon, is, and I would say this to your guys if they were sitting right here, because I mean it with all due respect, in that memories will change over time. Now, I'm not saying that they are not accurately representing what's going on, but I will say that to some extent there are two sides to every story.
Right.
And what the purpose of me saying that is that your side needs to be very clear as to how they know what they're saying is true. For example, when a progressive writes a book, they can say anything they want to do. When Bernie Sanders says he's going to provide a chicken in every pot and give you the pot, he can say anything he wants to, but nobody challenges him on where the money's going to come from. Whenever Dinesh D'Souza writes a book from the right side of political spectrum, a third of the book is footnotes telling where the information came from, many of them left-wing sources, and then people still say, oh, that's fake news, that's propaganda. So our side has a much, much bigger challenge in establishing what is or is not true, and with the understanding that memories change and fade over time, they have an even greater responsibility, in my opinion.
I agree.
Amnon, you mentioned earlier about what happened this past week that was a big deal.
Mhm.
The whole, the former Facebook president coming out and saying they knew full well that the purpose of what they were developing with Facebook was a way to try to capture people's attention and keep them glued to their propaganda machine.
Addicted.
And he finally comes out after he's made all his money and done all these other things to say, well, I'm really worried about what we're doing to kids' heads, how we're rewiring their heads. Well, you didn't care back then.
Yeah.
When you tried to, your efforts were to try to influence and mold as many people's opinion as possible for profit.
It was designed that way.
It was designed that way. And they all were designed that way. Now, whether you were the innovator or the follower in whatever you offered, that can be argued. But they were out there first with a successful one. I mean, MySpace went away, but it was the same idea. But what's his name? I have to look it up.
Well, they just had Zucker over CNN, told that just apparently he's left and told his people that this witch hunt that they're on is just crazy. It's destructive and it's going to end badly for CNN.
Yes, nobody's reporting that, but he's left.
You imagine that?
Well,
imagine that.
Only that side can have a loss and claim it as a victory. So,
all right. So let's go a little bit technical here. Spence, you're talking about Windows 10. So Microsoft is testing its NearShare feature, NearShare they call it, of Windows 10 in the latest Insider build today. This is last week, which will let Windows 10 PCs share documents or photos to PCs nearby via Bluetooth. It says a new NearShare option will be available in the notification center, and the feature can be accessed through the main share function in Windows 10. Files will be shared wirelessly, and recipients will receive a notification when someone is trying to send the file. Microsoft Edition comes just a day after Google unveiled its own AirDrop-like app for Android. So
it'll be interesting to find out how long it takes somebody to hack this.
Oh, it's probably already hacked.
Figure out how to get into somebody's machine. If this feature is turned on, just get into their machine without them even knowing.
Sure, absolutely.
You know what I hate about these things? They're all separate. Apple's got their AirDrop, Google's got their thing, and then Microsoft has theirs. Why can they not just work together on one platform so that I can share files between my iPhone and my desktop?
Because it wouldn't be creating a competitive advantage for them, so they won't ever do it.
Like that, I mean, I would love to be able to send files quickly between my PC and iPhone, or Android and PC, or
that would be great.
Android and iPhone, or whatever it may be. I just, what's the point? Everything is so proprietary now.
Yeah, that's and what was it? There was a story about Twitter that I mean, actually, Twitter. I had a story here. We'll get to it. That turned the 288 characters a global thing now, but a prankster, they said, figured out how to send a tweet that was 30,000 character long.
Oh, nice.
And the way that he
work?
did it, remember, there was a thing about Twitter not counting links as characters. Yep. So the guy put the whole tweet within a link.
Oh, beautiful.
30,000 characters. So you see, nobody thought about it when Twitter did that. But amazing. So there are things, every time a new piece of software like that comes out, the hackers, pranksters, call them whatever you want, have something else to mine and to find bugs in. Companies are trying to get these apps, patches, programs out before their competition will, and they're not testing, they're not thinking about what could happen. And we get hurt in the process. So
yeah, it's just so frustrating that everything is so segmented.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that in 2017 there is not a good when I want to send a file between my phone and my computer, I have to email it to myself.
Yeah,
it's just
I mean, yeah, but
mind-boggling.
you could hook a USB.
Not with the iPhone, you can't.
Really?
What about Dropbox?
Yeah, well, but I could Dropbox. I could use.
I mean, it doesn't make it easy. It doesn't make it easy.
And there's no either way. I have to use some third-party service to get a file. It could be Dropbox, Google Drive, email.
You got to send it up and bring it down. You can't just send it direct. Yeah.
Well,
it's just
I took a few
asinine
pictures.
2017.
And I've got an Android, so I can hook it. But it's
now,
hard.
It's
hard to find it because you have to go into the file system and the card and this and that folder, and when you find it, you can move it. But,
now, I would agree with you. A picture, yes, you can somewhat easily just plug it into the USB and browse through the DCIM folder and go down and down and down. But for anything that is not a picture, like for example, I was trying to configure a VPN on my phone, a VPN through my network here. I needed to set the OpenVPN profile to myself. I had to upload it to Google Drive on my desktop, and then open Google Drive on my phone to download it. Just very, very inconvenient. Very inconvenient.
I guess the same thing would happen with an Android at this point.
It would. Obviously it's a first world problem, but why? Why?
Because they want to do away with the desktop.
Well, yeah, but even if they wanted to get away with desktop, I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me that there's still no good way to transfer files back. Maybe I don't know. Maybe all of these apps will eventually work together.
Hopefully,
But I've never even used AirDrop. I don't even know how that works. I've never been Spence. I know Spence said he used it when he was in Alaska, but I personally have never. I've never even been in a situation where I wanted to use it. It's mostly just between myself when I'd ever want to use it, sending stuff back and forth, to myself.
Talking about the companies working together, Microsoft is partnering with other security vendors to integrate their macOS, Linux, iOS, and Android security wares with its Windows Defender Advanced Threat Protection, ATP service. It says that they announced the first 3 such partners: Bitdefender, Lookout M, and Ziften. These companies will feed any threats detected into the single Windows Defender ATP console. With Defender ATP, every device has its own timeline with event history dating back up to 6 months. And according to Microsoft, no additional infrastructure is needed on board to onboard events from macOS, Linux, iOS, and/or Android devices.
Amnon.
Yeah.
Did you use Microsoft and security in the same sentence?
No, yeah, I'm just reading. I'm just reading. Don't
You're fake
the
news.
messenger. Yeah.
I just want to be clear here.
Yeah. I know. But I mean, I always said, Mike, and I think it's true, Microsoft Windows is not, was never really a bad operating system, if not for the way that they configured it. If you have...
Well, yes, Mrs. Lincoln.
If you have a Microsoft, let's see who that is.
You're not off the
we can get back into it. Good morning.
If you have...
Hello.
If you have a Microsoft, let's see.
Hello.
I
don't know.
Yeah, well, that was good. Solid phone call.
So all I'm saying is that I have a computer today that has ransomware on it that I have to try to clean up today.
Yeah.
That should never be possible in any
absolutely.
Operatings.
I know. That's what I'm saying. If you had a Microsoft engineer, so to speak, somebody who knows about how to set up Windows correctly from day one, and they would close everything that can allow this in, it wouldn't be near as bad as it is. I'm not saying it's not bad at all, but
you would see this is, but
that
it's the
doesn't
same
happen.
argument with two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with two-factor authentication. Everybody should have two-factor authentication, but it's inconvenient as hell to use.
Right.
And it would be the exact same thing with Microsoft. You wouldn't be able to, every time you went to install a font, you'd have to get a password from a system administrator, and anytime you wanted to make any changes to Wi-Fi, you need
not to speak about the fact that who is able to find somebody to do it for them.
Well, it's a convenience factor. You don't want to have to enter an administrative password or a key on a fob every time you want to make a change to Windows.
Right.
And we pay for the convenience by, like what Mike's talking about, ransomware on a computer, because convenience.
Yeah, it's sort of like, hey, somebody just robbed me. Well, how'd they get in? Well, they opened the door and they came in. Was the door locked? No. Well, why aren't you locking the doors? Then I'm going to have to get a key and open every time I come home. That's the kind of thing. It's they wanted to have an operating system that anybody can use, anybody can install, no matter what they know or don't know. And at that point, you have to leave it open, and you get the reputation that you deserve. So here, they're talking about at least other companies are using it, and that will make it stronger for everybody, I think. We'll have to wait and see. They're going to integration with Bitdefender and Gravity Zone Cloud, which allows users to get Mac OS and Linux threat intelligence on malware and suspicious files. I mean, it is a step in the right direction to do something like this, to collaborate with other companies and to try to help other companies doing this. And you're actually doing it not because you're trying to help, but you're helping yourself too. Let's not, I don't think for a second that Microsoft is doing this from the kindness of their heart. They're doing it because they know, okay, that will give us an edge. But in the same time, it's helping other people, and that's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's just it's the convenience factor.
Yeah.
I've got a story here. This is probably the most mind-boggling thing I've read in a couple of weeks. Everybody's familiar or has heard of Logitech's Harmony devices at some point. This is kind of this was a very early attempt. It was a very early solution for connecting a whole bunch of devices together and making them all be able to be controlled by either one display, like an iPad or a phone, or they had a Harmony remote control, and it could control a bunch. It was a glorified universal remote, but it would connect to a whole bunch of different devices. So this device has been out since 2011, and in an email this week, Logitech customers that obviously had registered this device were told that Harmony linked devices were going to be intentionally bricked by Logitech March 16th of 2018. We are screwed. We have allowed all of these devices to communicate with central servers, and this is the first case. We're screwed. We are absolutely 100% screwed with all of these devices that we own, because they can all be and probably will be shut down by the manufacturer at some point or another.
Well, if their business model is that they encourage you to get on board with a simple service or a few devices for free, and then as you add to the system, like the example, some of these security cameras that have free 10 seconds of free storage on their cloud.
Yeah,
you have to pay for more.
You didn't.
Even if you're paying for it, what happens when that company's business model fails and they go out of business, and you have all these cameras in your house that you can't use anymore?
You didn't read the rest of the story, Nick.
The rest of the story's not listed on here.
Oh, okay. It says so. It looks like Logitech didn't anticipate the barrage of criticism it received after announcing this, and now the company is reversing course.
Oh.
Wait. Its Harmony Link will still die next summer. But if you own one, the company is happy to give you a free upgrade to the more recent Harmony Hub model. The title was that they're going to give people a newer version, even if theirs is way past warranty or whatever.
That's the solution then.
Yeah, but that's only because a lot of people complain and
so that's interesting, because this article I'm reading, which was authored,
that's the first one,
the 7th. It says this. It says Logitech is offering 35% discount to customers. So they did that, which was clearly just a poor attempt to
maybe and then
win people over.
Still.
Well, you know what? I guess I can kind of live with that then.
No, it says that they will get no mention of percentage or whatever, but they said that they will give you a free upgrade to the more recent Harmony Hub model.
Then I guess I can live with that, because that's
they said that a lot of
solution.
people,
if they don't want to maintain the old hub services or servers or whatever.
Well, then that's what they should have said to begin with.
Well, I agree. And you know what? I mean, it seems like the simple solution would be to just leave the old Logitech Harmony servers online. That would be the cheapest alternative to, I mean, unless there's some big, I don't know, security issue. I don't know why. The device isn't that old. It's not like this is a device from 2006 that they're trying to shut down. This only came out in 2011.
Yeah, I had the original Harmony remote that didn't use a hub. The very first generation of it. Actually, I had the first and second generation, because the first one was so bad, they wound up sending me a new one. And it was a later version of hardware. The batteries would swell in these things and destroy it.
Ooh.
the battery fit into a specific slot, and it would, if it would expand, it would literally break the little system board inside the remote because it couldn't. There was no room for it to expand. But I never got it to work right. I tried to have multifunction devices and went with. I had to do custom programming and all that. I sort of got it to work, but eventually, even after the second device, I abandoned it. So I guess the hub idea is a much better idea. I never used it. Mine was probably from 2003.
Just very
early adopter.
And I made the comment that we're all screwed, and I'm being dead serious with that. All of the and half the devices in your house now, half the technical devices are phoning home to some server. They are required when they boot up. They're required to authenticate with some server. There's a key. There's something that's being checked by the company, and if that is ever shut down at any point, if the company goes out of business, if they're acquired and then shut down, and the stuff isn't merged over, that product will be a glorified paperweight.
And the bigger threat, think about it. What happens if we have a generalized extended internet outage?
Oh yeah,
all these things go away. So we're so dependent on cloud services. It's interesting because the whole cloud thing, you could see it coming. I mean, in the business I was in, it just accelerated to the point. Everything has to be in the cloud. Everything is going to be, you don't have to worry about it. And then suddenly now there's local mirroring is a big deal, where you have a local server that can make a copy of and also serve your business if the cloud goes away. Big thing now, because everybody realized how vulnerable they were having cloud-only services.
But you're also missing one of the big benefits, because now with the Amazon Echo, as they're able to listen to every word you say, they're getting customer feedback a lot sooner, so they can reverse course on all these draconian decisions much quicker.
Yep, absolutely.
It's going to be very interesting to see what the realm of technology is 10 years in terms of devices.
A lot of people.
What's up?
Oops. Go ahead, Nick.
What?
I'm sorry. No, I thought
no.
you stopped.
It'll be interesting to see.
A lot of people have security systems, camera systems, and they love it. Oh yeah. I can go to my app, and every one of these apps, and I don't know how many more, that app does not connect directly with your house or with the DVR you have at home or with what. It connects to another server somewhere in the world.
Yep.
And at that point, you're actually opening yourself up to abuse. So it is a problem. If you have a security system that you can lock and unlock the door remotely, well, guess what? Somebody else can do that. If it was just communicating directly with your house, directly with your device at home, chances that you would get into trouble are less, because people have to know exactly who you are and where you are. But when they get into a server that has thousands of these, then they can pick and choose who do they want to abuse.
Well, there's a security company that actually offers a service to say if you lock yourself out, they'll open the door for you.
Yeah.
Like the old GM. Is OnStar still a thing?
OnStar,
so.
It is.
Because you used to be able to call them and give them a PIN number, and they would unlock your car for you remotely.
Yeah.
It's not advertised like it used to. I don't think I've seen a car commercial within the last couple of years that has promoted OnStar being a
I think it's still there.
thing. It might still be active.
Way too expensive.
Oh, God.
Misleading. I had it in the first GM car I had. And I bought minutes just so I could use the phone in an emergency. What they didn't tell you is that the minutes expired.
Yeah, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think OnStar was sort of like you had to initiate. Your car had to initiate.
No, if you had an accident, if you had an accident, they would detect that and
but
contact.
That's because the car initiated a connection. It's not like you're driving along and somebody can actually connect to your car just out of nowhere. I don't think that
I disagree. They
work.
absolutely could.
Well, OnStar is only just the first generation of the service that's out there today, where they can remotely connect. Cars will provide diagnostics.
Yeah,
and give
that's
you
a different story.
Report.
Yeah, that's continuous communication between the car and the cloud. And what happened if there are no clouds in the sky? I never understood that.
Sorry, I can't talk to you today. It's a clear day.
Fair skies.
So here is something else that makes me think. Engadget reports on a new watch that suggests the possibility of a future without chargers. This thermal-powered wearable doesn't need one. It gets energy by converting your body heat into electricity. It's been a year since this prototype of the Powerwatch came out. A smartish watch that tracks basic fitness metrics. Now, the self-proclaimed energy harvesting company is finally ready to ship Power Watches to the early adopters who backed its Indiegogo campaign. So, to save you from the rest of the story, it generates power, not enough to, they said that you still have to maybe, I mean, the watch by itself will work for 12 months, even if you don't wear it. So it doesn't use much. But the fact that this can be done, I'm thinking, okay, we're holding, or a lot of people hold their phone in their hand hours a day. So if it could provide just a little bit of a, call it a, what is it, charge? The word escapes me. When you just give it a little bit of charge every now and then. Spence?
Trickle charge?
Trickle charge. It will extend the life of the battery on the phone by, let's say, another hour or 2 hours, which is great for a lot of people. If they could generate, obviously, if they could generate enough to keep the phone running indefinitely by your body heat, that's great. But even if it's not that much, that is nice. So it's something that I like to think that it's possible to do sometime in the future, and keep.
So it uses, you say it uses body heat. It's not, because I'm looking at a watch here now. It's
look for a power
hybrid
watch.
between a hybrid between a self-winding watch and where it's actually got a counterweight inside that will turn based on your wrist moving.
Yeah, I've got
and generates electricity.
I've got one of those, and that's not new. I mean, I had it since I was a teenager. It's a Seiko that has a self-winding watch. It has a weight in there that as you move, it moves and it winds the watch up. Yeah, that's not.
I had one that didn't work very well.
But this is just from, by body heat, and it's neat that something like this could even be thought of. I mean, it's called a power watch. What?
It's a crowdfunding product.
Well, I mean, they came.
Right.
It was a crowd funded, but now they're out of it, and they're getting ready to ship.
Yeah, they raised 1.6 million.
Yeah,
they're almost 1,000% funded as of January 14th this year. Matrix is the name of the watch, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it was an Indiegogo project.
So it's nice. Now we know
I have a crowdfunding project I need everybody to support. called "Help Spencer Retire Early."
Do you remember what Jim Duffy always used to say?
Yes, yeah. Keep Jim in the green or
Yep.
something like that. What was it called?
So we all heard and maybe experienced the blue screen of death, right? Well, some iPhone 10 owners or iPhone X are reporting a random green line appearing on their display. According to the Next Web, the defect has already started to take on an endearing green line of death moniker. Several users across Apple forums and social media have reported the error. He says that he encountered it a dozen accounts, and Mac Rumors mentions it's read at least 25 such reports. Oddly, the issue doesn't appear to affect users shoot, I lost my place here. Affects users immediately, only showing up after some time with regular usage. In some cases, it alternates with a purple line for variety. It generally appears toward the right or left sides of the display. And sometimes it simply disappears altogether. Weird. Either way, it appears to be a hardware defect affecting a small number of users, and Apple appears to be replacing affected units. So if you see a green line or a purple line on your display of the iPhone 10, take it in. They'll replace it. Again, I don't know why they call it the green line of death, because I didn't read one word about the fact that it locks the phone, or it's just a display thing. So it's not like it kills the phone and you have to reboot. It's Apple. You don't have to reboot it ever. It just works. All right.
Well, actually, it does mean it's the green line of the death of a marketing campaign. Because you have a brand new product that has a defect, and people go, "Oh no!" So
Spencer, are you ready with
green line of death for stock price?
Are you ready with specials?
I can be in a moment. Yes.
Okay. Guys, is it okay if we got into the specials now? Nobody.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Let's see.
Actually, it's interesting because we're getting into the time of year where they're previewing
Black Friday.
Black Friday. Some of the stuff's already available to buy.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, hey, it's from a retailer's perspective. Why do they care? They're going to sell more stuff. So I don't particularly care for it, but hey, you got to do what you got to do, I think. So, all right, and we do have a product to talk about at the end that is something I was not aware of, that is supported by UMA, the voice over IP hardware and service provider. So
I'm looking at the top of the Apple.
What? Oh, the specials?
Eve. Yeah.
Oh, the Apple. Yeah. Some of these ads are hysterical. Yeah, it's fun. All right. So it is already November 12th, 2017, if you can believe it. Here we go. So some of these you will see, especially on the Staples and the Office Depot, Office Max ads. Some of them say upcoming, and that is because they are previews of the Black Friday stuff. Next week, we'll get into it as deep as we can with the time allowed. I just have only so much I can do on Sunday morning prepare. But we'll try to next week. What I'll do is I'll probably just try to zero in on, a good deal in each category somewhere out there in the world of Black Friday. Maybe we'll include some consumer stuff too, besides computers. But all right, so Computers 2K Now specials for November 12th, 2017. Starting with laptops, we have at Best Buy an entry-level laptop. This is an HP 15.6 AMD A6 laptop for $249, $30 off. Office Depot has an upcoming special on a 15.6-inch i7 laptop from HP. It's $449, which is $400 off. This is a Friday, 7:45 a.m. to 12 noon. So if you're interested, check it out at these vendor sites. Find out when it's available. Office Depot, Office Max. Staples has an Acer Aspire AMD A9 laptop, $289.99. Save $140. Unless I specifically say so, all these things are available now. I'll mention if it's upcoming. Desktops, laptops. We have an entry-level Lenovo Idea Center AMD A9 desktop at Best Buy for $329, which is $50 off. Upcoming deal at Office Depot, Office Max, and HP Slim Design AMD A9 desktop for $279, which is $200 off. Staples has one of the all-in-ones that I have installed for several people and have had good results with. This is the HP 22-inch all-in-one. It has the Intel Pentium quad-core processor, $349.99, save $95. Tablets. Best Buy actually has, Digiland 7-inch tablet and keyboard combo, 8 gig Android tablet for $49. That's 10 off. You're not talking about super high quality stuff here, but for $50, you get some pretty good, decent products. I bought a $50 Kindle Fire tablet that is still serving me well, although I bought it with the annoying ads, which generally are only there when you unlock the screen. But a good quality tablet. I've dropped it and had to reclose the case, and it didn't harm the thing at all. That's at Best Buy. At an upcoming at Office Depot, Office Max is Samsung Galaxy E Lite 7-inch Android tablet for $69, save $30. Upcoming at Staples, Kindle Fire 7 tablet with built-in Alexa 7-inch display for $29. That's 20 off. So the normal price is only $50. I wasn't aware that Alexa was built into the Fire tablet, but I guess it is now. All right, moving on. Networking. Best Buy has a Linksys MaxStream AC1750 router for $109.99, save $20. Office Depot Max has an upcoming with a TP-Link Archer C8 AC1750 router for $74.99, which is $45 off the regular price. Staples has an upcoming with a Netgear Nighthawk AC2600. You've got to have the right combination of adapters on your devices to work with this speed. This is a $100 off. It's $129. Upcoming at Staples. Storage. Best Buy has a Western Digital 2 terabyte USB 3.0 portable hard drive, $64.99. Say $65. That is a deal. Office Depot Max has an upcoming on Western Digital 2 terabyte external. It's a bundle. It is a 2 terabyte drive, same one that's in the other ad, in addition to a 16 gig SanDisk drive, thumb drive, $69. So whether, I don't know how much that 16 gig drive is worth. If it's a USB 3.0, it's probably worth $15 or $20. Staples has Lexar 32 gig USB 3 thumb drive for $15.99. That's $24 off. Accessories. We've got a Bluetooth speaker system at Best Buy. Mike, how do you say this name? Klipsch?
Spell it Klipsch.
Yeah.
Klipsch.
Clips. Okay.
Klipsch.
All right. I'll let you say it.
Klipsch.
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 That's what
I need to go to voice training here. I can't.
That's probably a southern translation of the real one.
But it's a Bluetooth speaker system, 3-piece, a subwoofer, and 2 left and a right. $129.50 off. And upcoming at Office Depot office. Looks like all of them are upcoming at Office Depot. So, Logitech entry level set of speakers, $899, save $11. And Staples has a Logitech R800 professional presenter, 100-foot range. It's $49.99, $38 off. Monitors, we've got an Acer 23-inch monitor at Best Buy for $99, save $60. Upcoming at Office Depot Max, Dell 23-inch monitor for $99. It's a gaming monitor, very high speed. It's $99.99. It's half off, $100 off. Staples has a 23.8-inch widescreen monitor Acer for $99, save $50. Printer scanners, Canon Pixma wireless all-in-one printer for $99, save $50. This is kind of this is more intended for a small business than it is for a prosumer home user. Brother laser printer at Office Depot Max upcoming for $49.99. This does have duplex. It is not wireless. It is USB connected. It is an entry-level printer, but it does have duplex. But the good news is it uses the same laser cartridges. So this is perfectly acceptable if you can have it in the same vicinity as and connect it by USB to your computer. Staples has a Samsung Express laser all-in-one, $124.99, it's half price, $125 off. And Amnon, you mentioned if you have a security system that you rely on the cloud for, if you do buy a system like this Night Owl that Best Buy has, now you can get better prices. I have Zomoto system that I've installed in my house that is a little bit cheaper than this, although Night Owl is a good brand. It's out there for a long time, good support. It does have remote connectivity, but if you want something that's reliable, that's going to store it locally, this is an NVR, 1 terabyte NVR. They say DVR, same thing. It is a recorder built in, and this is a hardwired coax power over the cable system. I have power over Ethernet, which is a proprietary system that Zomoto has. The good news is it's a single cable that you have to run to the cameras, which I think is wireless stuff that's out there needs power anyway. And if you go with a battery-powered wireless, you have to make these things accessible that you can get out there and change the batteries on a regular basis. And they don't do continuous recording. They record on event, on motion capture. But this is a good deal for a Night Owl. It's an 8-channel. It comes with 4 cameras. They're outdoor cameras, $249, save $50. And if anybody wants to ask questions about this, I've installed a few of these systems. I've only have familiarity with 2 vendors. One is Night Owl, the other is Zomoto. But if you want to do this, there are some things to consider, and I'm happy to talk about it.
And just so people understand, 8 channels, 4 cameras mean you can add another 4.
You can add another 4 cameras. That's correct. And this comes with 100-foot cables, which is handy. I installed mine in my attic, and I have. Yeah, here's an interesting thing. It's a good place to talk about this. I struggled over where I was going to install the cameras and how, and where I was going to put the recorder. So my upstairs, I'm in my office now. My office has a wall that backs up to the walk-up stairway that goes to my attic. And it's finished on both sides. The attic is not finished, but it is finished on both sides and has insulation and all that. What I've done in the past was I've run cables down through the wall from the top and then have faceplates with internet connections, telephone connections, cable connections. And I said, this is getting to be hard to do. I have to keep opening up the same space, add more stuff. So what I did was I actually built a little patch panel. I put a 4-port Ethernet plate on either side of the wall, connected them. They're a little bit different height. But now I have essentially a patch panel from my attic through to my office. So instead of plugging the wires, this is where the IP the power over Ethernet version of the cameras come in handy. I plugged the Ethernet jacks into the attic side of that patch panel, and I plugged a jumper cable into the office side of that and plugged that into the recorder, and it works fine.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have flexibility. If I want to take this thing with me when I move, it'll be a lot easier for me to disconnect it. I probably won't, but certainly made it easier. A little more trouble instead of just putting a hole in the wall. But this way now I have flexibility if I want to upgrade, something that's going to change, whatever. So,
yep.
For those of you who are Ring users, who already have a Ring doorbell system in place, upcoming at Office Depot Max is a special on Ring wired 1080p plug-in indoor-outdoor cameras. They are 2 for $299. They're normally $200 each. And Staples has a web deal. Now, I went out looking for home automation stuff on Staples. There's nothing on the ad, and I didn't see anything in their preview. But they do have carry the Vivitar line now of Wi-Fi enabled switches, and this isn't the only one. They have Wi-Fi enabled outlets and so on, plug-in switches. So they've got a web deal on the Vivitar Smart Switch, $16.99. That's 57% off the regular price. That's available today. Okay, so let's get into the product focus here. I don't know why I stumbled across this. I don't even remember what I was looking at that made me think of this, but I am an UMA user. I've had the UMA Tello base station now for years. It's one I bought outright, and then it comes with free basic service, a single line, with the purchase of the Tello device. I have the first generation. It's limited in what I'm going to talk about, but it still will work. You can pay for the premium services. That's what you pay for, Amnon. You have 2 lines and you have all those other features that come with premium. But one thing that comes with premium, or you can purchase on an ad hoc basis, is home security. They have a line of sensors. They have a water sensor, a door and window sensor, and a motion sensor. And they talk using DECT, the wireless technology, back to the Tello base station. If you have the original base station, it has that DECT built in that was made to work with some of their remote phones that they had. And you can go up to, I think their standard is up to 200 feet, depending on the construction of your house, to connect these sensor devices. If you have the basic system and you're paying just the taxes and fees per month, which is what I pay, like $4.75 a month for my line, then you can get one sensor for free. You can get up to 3 with the original base station. If you want to get up to 32, you have to buy the upgraded base station, which has higher capacity. But I just bought a water sensor. I installed a new water heater in the attic, and I have all kinds of alarms and things on it. But I didn't have anything that would actually send me a text message. I bought a Z-Wave switch that I did not install yet, because I would have had to install some type of a hub in the house to get that to work. So I see this thing out there, water sensor, UMA. Oh, well, that's interesting. I check on Amazon. I think I paid $23 for it. The list is $29. So I got this thing. Now, to their credit, I ran into some issues. I have the older device. I did not have home networking turned on as a service. I did not have the DECT wireless turned on. So I went through those steps, and I still could not register my sensor. So I called UMA. And the first line of defense, of course, is the guy reading from the script. And he says, well, after they've asked me a lot of questions, collected information, he says, well, your call. Oh, first, I take that back. First thing I spoke to was the chat. And the guy said, you need to call. So I called, and he said, well, we're going to connect you through to the formal support center. And then I spoke to a young lady in the Philippines who was excellent. She stayed with me on the phone for an hour and a half. All of the issues I experienced were back-end issues that they fixed remotely. Took a bunch of restarts of the device, took them time to turn these services on in their cloud, but they eventually turned them all on. At first, it wasn't all that fast. He says, it's going to take some time for all this stuff to get up to full function. And I said, oh, okay. But within 2 hours of me hanging up with them and having the sensor working, at first it would work once and I'd have to reset the box. Now, within 30 seconds, and I've tested this repeatedly, if I put that sensor into water, within 30 seconds, I get a text message. My UMA base station says, water detected sensor 1, and I get a push message to the app. I could also add making a phone call to that if I'd like, which I haven't done. What's neat about this system is it offers you, if you have the app running or you have notifications turned on, you go to the app, it will say, would you like to call 911 now? And they will let you make a call from your phone that looks like it's coming from the UMA box so that emergency services get your 911 information as for your location as to what you registered with UMA, which is fascinating. If you have a window sensor go, a door sensor, a motion sensor trip, and you're in the house or somewhere else, you get a notification. It says, do you want to call 911? Yes. It will call the local 911 number that you've registered with the app. Or, I'm sorry, it will call 911 from your locality, I should say. You don't have to register the number. And look like, and with your registered address, and you talk to the emergency responders and say, look, I have a window sensor went off. I want somebody to come. There is no monitoring with this, and I'm not looking for monitoring. I don't want to pay for it. But to add more than one sensor, you add to your $495, $475 a month, $599, which puts you at the regular premium price anyway. So you may as well just buy premium. Premium comes with the full supply of all the UMA features and gives you Amnon, what's the feature you have with call blocking?
You can
subscribes to that.
You can use the No More Robo and block calls.
It just automatically adds to it.
Just
well as all the security up to 32, or actually it's unlimited sensors.
Yeah.
You can have more than one UMA base station.
Just so people understand, UMA is not really a security system. UMA is a voice over IP, just like Vonage. But you don't pay monthly $20, $30 something. You buy it and it's about $100 or less, and then it costs you about just the taxes, so it's like $4.95 a month. And if you get the premium, it's $9.95. It just adds another $5 for all the other options. So it saves you a lot of money on your home phone.
If that's what now keep in mind that you're working with this vendor and it's what they offer now. But the neat part about it is they've added things. They do have UMA Internet Security. You can actually use the base station as a pass-through device. It'll only work with separate cable modems or modems and separate routers. If you have a combo modem router, it won't work because it has to intercept the traffic going through its in and out port. But it is a sophisticated security. I can't rate this. I haven't tried it, but it says it's partnered with a company called Zscaler. So that's another thing you can get. But what's fascinating is they now have if this then that programming, so that if you work with and you have to go and look and see what companies they work with. I know they work with Philips Hue, but they say if you get a phone call, you can set it up so your lights will flash, or do something to tell you that there's a phone call coming in. And there's other things you can do. And they work with a bunch of different vendors out there. So it's, they work with Alexa, for example. You can have it say, Alexa will say, you're getting a phone call from so-and-so. And so it is an interesting setup, but coming from a different direction, like Amnon said. It's coming from a voice over IP provider with a base station that actually does work with these other vendor products. It isn't a home automation base station, so to speak. But for my needs, what I want to do, it's really simple. I have my water detection alert system that I was looking to do and looking to have. And for right now, it doesn't cost me anything else. I'm just paying the base fee. I had to buy the sensor.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a good deal. There's no doubt.
It's not, I would not go into it unless you have your eyes open, just like anything else. You need to look at products, features, whatever. So, and the prices you see here these are list prices. If you bought from them, you can go out and find it cheaper at Amazon and places like that. So,
and actually,
specials for November 12th, 2017 is Fine.
And actually, when I found the upgraded UMA, when I added UMA,
yes,
I found it on Amazon for cheaper. It was like $72. It was refurbished with 6 months warranty, whatever. And I called them for the service, and she said, "So where did you get your UMA?" And I told her. She said, "Well, we can sell it to you for that price, a refurbished, and you will have a year warranty." And I said, "Oh, okay."
Did you send it back?
No, I mean, I didn't order it yet. I wanted to make sure that it'll work with their system. So I found that I can get it. So I called them, and they got fantastic customer service.
They do.
Unbelievable.
That woman stayed on the line with me, and she did say, "Look, we're gonna have to wait."
You need a drink.
Sorry, I need to glass of
You
water.
need a drink.
But they said there will be a lag now, and she said, "I'm going to stay on the line. I'm here. When I see the server say that the service is available, I will get back on the call." And it was about 10 minutes, but she never left me hanging. I didn't have to call back. I didn't get dropped when I called. And it was not U.S. service. She said, "I'm in the Philippines." So,
Yep.
Interesting thing happened years ago. Bell South, the predecessor to the current AT&T, which AT&T was the predecessor to Bell South, Southern Bell. But my wife worked for the Directory Assistance Service down in Laurinburg, which at one point was a major point for directory assistance throughout North Carolina, actually probably the southeastern United States. But long story, but my stepmother was a supervisor there. They needed someone to fill in, so they hired her to come in. Well, interestingly enough, the first 2 weeks, she got 2 commendations for the quality of service that she provided to a customer. This is when somebody called in, talked with her, got exactly what they wanted. They were thrilled. They even took the time to send a note or call the supervisor to let them know they were thrilled with the quality of service they were getting from Bell South.
Mm-hmm.
May have been Southern Bell, but it was Bell South. And then the following week, they wrote her up for spending too much time on the phone.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
And then a month later, they fired her for being pregnant.
Well, call centers are a wicked place. I knew a person who was a supervisor, became a salesperson for call centers at Nortel later, but was a supervisor for American Airlines call center for many years. And she told us stories. Oh, boy.
She actually enjoyed doing the work, but it just...
I personally would not.
She knew it was laughable.
All right. Well, thanks, Spence. That was a good segment. That was good. All right. So
I got my video camera working for my security camera.
Oh, really?
What did you get? Is that working now?
Well, not at the moment, but I mean, I was able to hook it up and see the picture on it.
Can you get to it locally? Did you try? I know that I need to figure out what the IP address is of my camera. I didn't set a fixed address, but I was impressed with the D-Link web interface that comes with the camera.
There's only one problem with it, and that it is black and white.
Only
Really?
at night. Did you do it at night?
No, I just did it sitting right here.
It shouldn't be
enough light.
It's those cameras, Mike. If there's enough light, like daylight, it'll be color, and when it gets to the point where it uses the infrared, it will turn black and white. Yes.
All right, I'm going to try it again.
So you need, yeah.
I'm still not sure how to use it, but
it's
tape it to the front of your car. Yeah. You can use it as a traffic cam.
Well, I put it on the back. It'll be a backup camera.
And then just have a really long Ethernet cable going to your house, and you can always monitor it.
You could put one of the
oh, Dick.
pan and tilt ones up on the roof, and then you could be a Google Earth car.
Oh, yes. That's a great idea.
That'd be something.
By the way, Rover did make a suggestion that I used before. Download Angry
IP. Yes.
Yeah.
What is that?
It scans your network and tells you all the IP addresses.
What I didn't like about it, I went to install it, was that you have to have flash. So, but it does work good. It is a great application. I still am able to scan with my phone the network itself. I just can't look at MAC addresses.
Let's see if I can.
I used to use the Apple or the tool on my iPhone. I would scan. I'd be working at somebody's house and helping them out, and I would scan the network. And I could, if those machines were Windows networking, it was wide open, like in the XP days, I could right from my phone click and open up their machine. So, hey, by the way, do you know that you're wide open? I'm looking at your C drive right now.
Yep. So I just did a scan, and it found it, and it's unlike a lot of things, it actually gives you the name. It says D-Link in the description. A lot of times it doesn't tell you what it is, or in the case of some of the other cheap Taiwanese crap that you buy, Hon Hai Precision doesn't tell you what it is.
Whatever the chipset is, yeah.
So did you hook it?
Did I hook it?
I thought you said you were trying it.
I am. I'm working on it.
Okay. All right.
What I'm doing here is it's on the, in fact, I just typed 192 and it pops up, and I forgot what the password is. All right. So the browser says you may have difficulty receiving images and video. If you experience issues viewing this page, we suggest using Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, or Apple Safari instead of Chrome.
Yeah.
That's really stupid. So I'll start Internet Explorer. And
what a name for a program.
Be careful if you go out there to download Angry IP that you don't get roped into some other garbageware. Be sure you go and get the actual download, because it's hell. You can download it from a lot of different places, a lot of different file sites, and they may try to add junk.
It's in color.
In living color and in HD. How long's the delay? Like if you snap in front of it?
Half a second.
Oh, wow.
See, now if you put it under the disk and try to see something under the disk, it'll turn.
It just turned into
black and white.
All right, so I put this thing up now. I'm wired to Ethernet. Doesn't the thing have Wi-Fi?
It does, yes. You probably connect it within the web interface.
That's what I'm going to look. Setup, internet connection setup, manual, IP camera motion detection.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it has Wi-Fi.
Advanced.
You may have to do it from a smartphone. It may be ad hoc Wi-Fi. That's probably what it is now that I think about it.
Well, that's useless.
No, it's not.
No,
it shouldn't be ad hoc.
No, I mean ad hoc. It'll be ad hoc to configure.
Oh, to configure it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be ad
Why?
hoc.
Because I'm logged into the web interface. IR light, sync with ICR, ICR, remove automatic day mode, night mode.
Oh, there you go. Turn that off.
HTTPS.
Ooh.
Access list, allow, log out, DI and DO. Digital output, digital input.
Where's the box?
What box?
That it came in.
Oh, the instructions. There are no instructions with it.
On the box itself. Oh, it was like a white box? Like a generic box?
No.
Okay, it doesn't say anything. Doesn't mention wireless?
It does say Wi-Fi.
Okay,
yeah,
so
it's probably the smart. I would download the smartphone app. That's
I don't want to put all these apps on my smart.
Well, you just have to put it on and then delete it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of figuring it out. It is.
It might be written by the Russians.
Oh, you're right. You know what? I would return it. It's a very scary observation you just made.
Rover sent a link to a different something called Advanced IP Scanner, and what I like about this is it has a runtime. You don't have to install it.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I like that.
But is it okay?
I'm gonna run this right now and see what happens. Oh my God, the Russians are on my network. Holy crap!
And the same to talking about Russians.
Yes.
Former Yahoo Chief Executive Officer Marissa Mayer apologized today for a pair of massive data breaches at Yahoo and blamed Russian agents on the growing number of incidents involving major U.S. companies.
Is she going to give her bonuses back because of it?
Yeah.
Is she gonna apologize for wrecking Yahoo?
Yeah.
She's blaming the Russians. Yep. I mean, hey, it's what's the word? It's fashionable to.
Is she going to remove all the pictures she had taken of herself to promote herself?
I want to apologize.
Photo sessions she had?
She said, I want to sincerely apologize to each and every one of our users, she told the Senate Commerce Committee, testifying alongside the interim and former CEO of Equifax and a senior Verizon communication executive. Unfortunately, while all our measures helped Yahoo successfully defend against the barrage of hacks by both private and state-sponsored hackers, Russian agents intruded on our system and stole our user data. So, hey, it's all, just blame the Russians.
Yes, that's a very good solution.
Yeah, they did it. They did it.
Yet.
Yeah.
So, as Mike was making fun of me earlier in the show.
Oh, you were sensitive about it.
Yes, I was.
Oh.
Over my video game comments as I was playing video games, scrolling through Reddit looking for some stuff to talk about, and
that would be a forum, I believe.
No, I don't know.
And
the new Call of Duty World War II made over $500 million in sales in the first 3 days, setting PlayStation 4's digital day one record. So, pretty. I mean, you talk about literally. I know people are not interested in this, but you talk about a license to print money. These games are just licenses to print money. They've been the same game for 15 years now.
Meanwhile, the Clintons are selling uranium to the Soviets.
So that's fun. I'm playing as a World War II soldier. It's okay.
I had Chad, my AC guy, over here the other day, and after he finished doing what he was doing, we were talking, and he's big into home theater. So he was telling me about the new projector that he got that can put a huge picture all over his wall that is in 4K, and the sound system that's built into it was 16 speakers and all these different things. And he was saying, man, I mean, when I sit there and I play World War II, it's unbelievable. And I said,
sure
you
it
mean
is.
Call of Duty? He said, yeah. I mean, you see every little thing. I mean, it's amazing. I said, I need to come and see that. Maybe I'll wait until you get here, Nick.
Yeah, yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah,
that'll be good. But it's I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
3 days.
It's a bunch. And they're I mean, look, that's why they are doing it. It's because they know that they have the following.
Mentally ill people like me that can't control myself.
Well,
that's truth. So thought that was interesting.
Anyway, oh, so you're done with that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got some other stuff if you want me to go into
that. In Tuesday's coordinated election, two Colorado counties voted on ballot measures to exempt themselves from the state law prohibiting city-run internet services. Both Eagle County and Boulder County voters approved the measure, bringing the total number of Colorado counties that have rejected the state law to 31. Nearly half of the state's 64 counties are voting against what we have here in North Carolina now. Senate Bill 152, which was lobbied for by Big Telecom, became law in Colorado in 2005 and prohibits municipalities in the state from providing city-run broadband services. Some cities prefer to build their own broadband network, which delivers internet like a utility to residents and is maintained through subscription costs. But ever since SB 152 was enacted, Colorado communities have to first bring forward a ballot measure asking voters to exempt the area. So here they are. I mean, I guess North Carolina was the first one to do that. That was a long time ago. I guess we brought something to help the rest of the country do something that will help them. They're learning that to have a system that does not allow municipalities to get involved. I mean, here in North Carolina, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, I think if the municipality has anything to do with it, even if they're helping, they cannot do that. Over here, they're talking about actually a provider that is that city as a provider, and they are running the whole thing, which is even farther than what North Carolina decided, right? Oh, your audio's out.
I have no idea what North Carolina's current status is. It was pretty absolute. Then there was a federal decision that said they couldn't change that, and also I don't know what the current status is.
Oh, okay. So good for you, Colorado. That's a good decision by the people there, under realizing that they cannot rely on one ISP who will come and bamboozle them.
Speaking of bamboozled, AT&T Uverse still doesn't have Channel 5 and Fox 50.
Wow.
And someone has said that they're never going to be back on there again based on what they've heard.
Isn't that
the hell
nice?
of a contract dispute?
Well, particularly when if you ask for it, they're giving anywhere from $0 to $40 a month discount to subscribers for failing to provide the channel. At some point, it seems to me it'd be cheaper to pay the extortion.
Wow.
I mean, I guess you could say good on AT&T for staying true.
But they're breaching their contract to provide service to their customers like they give a crap.
No, I mean,
it's fine with me because we don't watch. We intentionally don't watch anything to do with Capital Broadcasting, which owns both stations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. They're kind of having a meltdown there. Some of their wackos are leaving.
That's what I say.
The thing that sucks with that, of course, is not watching newscasts, but watching sports. If you're into that, luckily, you can hook up an antenna and
depends on where you are.
Yeah,
a friend of mine in Durham can get perfect Channel 5 reception in Durham with an antenna, and we have an antenna here.
Mike, what kind of antenna?
What?
What kind of an antenna?
I don't know, a little flat one, the little piece of crap they gave away over at the PNC Center.
Just a regular HD flat antenna.
Mike, if you want to come by and take our little antenna, which was only about $10, it's a little thing, but it's unbelievable how it works.
Depends on where your house is.
And try it.
Yeah, depends on your location.
My house looks directly into my next door neighbor's basement.
Well,
yep.
Try it.
Speaking of which, I mean, if I wanted to watch Channel 5, then what I would do, I guess, is get a nice indoor antenna and put it in the attic and get Spence to run the coax down to the TV.
Correct.
I have a Winegard omnidirectional powered antenna in my attic. I put it up as high as I could get, right underneath the ridge vent, and I get 40 channels.
Well,
Wow.
but strangely enough, that when I put in this little crappy antenna and mounted it in this terrible place in the window, I'd actually supposedly picked up 59 channels.
But
yeah,
no
we did pick up a lot of channels with that.
Oh, I mean, I could get 40 channels that I can watch.
Yeah, but we couldn't watch but about 10 of them.
Yeah, some of them are pretty bad.
We were picking up one channel out of Greensboro.
So see, that's the disadvantage in this case of digital. The signal's either there or not.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate in this case. It's almost like, obviously the switch to digital for most things have been great. But this is, I think, one of the cases where it has not been.
I couldn't be any luckier because we don't watch those channels, and we sure don't watch what they call the newscast.
So did you get your money back from AT&T?
Not yet. You have to call them every month. That's what they do to harass you.
So how much do you think you're going to get back?
Well, some people got zero. Some people get $40.
$40.
Yeah, a lot of it depends on. Yeah, my best friend has been getting $40 a month for the last 2 months.
Wow.
He went to my advice. He went because he watches sports. He went to Target or somewhere and got a little $10 antenna, put it up, and gets everything. So he's thrilled.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the nice thing too is you've got. So even this would be interesting to see how this works. Even though, what affiliation is Channel 5? Are they an NBC or an ABC?
NBC.
So what would be interesting to see though is, can you go to NBC's site to watch programming and log in with your AT&T Uverse account?
No, because they're not a subscriber.
So that would be interesting to see how that works.
They're not a subscriber. And again, the only disadvantage that we've had by not having that channel is we were watching Blacklist.
Oh, okay.
But even that's not a problem because we've got 19 on the DVR that we haven't watched yet. So we're 2 seasons behind anyway.
Oh, there you go.
I just don't miss it. If I could get $20 a month discount, I would never want them to put it back on there because we were really close to actually setting the parental control to block access to those channels because they're all propaganda. We don't need that.
It's just normally these contract disputes are total BS. A lot of hype and hysteria. This one seems legit though.
What's legit about it?
That they're staying. Normally it's a big, like the cable companies calling the other guys scumbags. The other companies like, cancel your cable subscription, go somewhere else. And then it gets to the cutoff date and they go, oh, okay, we'll make a deal. This one's pretty legit though. I mean, what's it been now? 3 months during football season. I mean,
at least
that's a big deal.
We don't watch sports.
I mean, there's a lot of people that don't watch any local newscasts at all. And I mean, like me, I mean, I don't watch any local news down here, but
well, there is none.
Well, there is, but nevertheless, I'll be turning on the television today to watch football on, I think, CBS.
Yeah, well, that's fortunately have zero interest in any of that.
It's just it's a legit contract dispute.
Well, part of the problem is that I think the TV station is being uber stupid in that they're educating people on how to cut the cord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for them, they don't really give a crap how you watch the programming. I mean, they stream their newscasts online. If anybody can, and without a login, if you want to watch WRAL's newscast, you just go to their website and it's free. There's no login.
Why would you do that?
My point is, they're making it available for people to watch, so they really don't care how you're tuning in. They just want you to. I'm pretty sure they stream their stuff on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know.
They don't care if you're paying for it through AT&T, DirecTV, watching it online.
Didn't we just lose that?
We did. No, we lost Spence. So
no, we didn't. No, we lost Spence. Never mind.
It's I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this whole cord cutting. This is a reason for cord cutting, especially if you're really into watching sports and stuff. Hell, I'm gonna just cancel all of it. I don't need any of it now.
The economic impact is what's going to drive this, because you look at announcements this week of who's cutting back. Condé Nast magazines are laying off a whole bunch of people. Why? Because nobody buys magazines anymore, and they can't get a digital presence that anybody wants to read.
Yeah.
So that'll pay for. Who was the other one that announced? ESPN announced another 100 people are going to be laid off right after Thanksgiving, and most of them will be on-air talent. Yeah, they're losing subscribers. It's unbelievable.
Well, in ESPN's case, they are the most besides all the political BS that they promote, they are the most expensive channel by like 10 or 20 times the closest I mean, they get like $4 or $5 per subscriber.
I think it's more
from
than
the
that.
Cable system. I mean, it's outrageous how much.
I really wish I could take it off my cable system and give me the discount. I resent paying for that, having to pay, have no choice paying for that.
I mean, it is outrageous how expensive they are, and the problem is now people are dumping to go. Well, first of all, nobody wants to watch ESPN because they're not talking about sports; they're talking about politics now, and now people are canceling their cable subscriptions, and they've got no choice. They man 4 or 5 cable channels: ESPN1, ESPN2, ESPN3, ESPN News, and ESPNU, and ESPN Classic. They man 6 channels on cable systems. That is very expensive.
My guess is that what they're counting on is being able to go direct to cable cutters.
Well, they do have that. It's called Watch ESPN.
Yeah, we're going to play this out until we can't ride this dead horse anymore. Then we'll just go to direct streaming.
That's the problem. Well, there's a couple of issues with that. First of all, would be the price, and
they would never have a penny out of me.
Well, no, not. But the question for me, so let's say my cable bill is $80 a month, and $5 of that goes directly to ESPN. I'm not paying ESPN directly. I don't care. I don't think I would pay $5 a month directly to ESPN to watch their programming. Really don't.
Okay.
I mean, that just seems to be the issue. You can go to watchespn.com right now, but it's the same thing, Mike. You've got to log in with your AT&T or your Spectrum or your whatever account before you can even watch it, which is just, it's not an answer to cutting the cord. It's if you have cable and also want to watch it on your computer. For example, I'm using my parents' login for it. I don't have a cable subscription, but if they cancel their subscription, I can't watch this channel. There's still no solution for me to purchase this outside of Sling, or I think this is available on PS View.
Well, there are ways of watching shows if you have to watch a show.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the legal community is swarming right now with content, because honest to God, there is some. I mean, this happened to me a couple of weeks ago. There was a piece of content I wanted to watch. I could not purchase this piece of content. It was a movie. I could not stream it. I could not purchase it. It was not available. I had absolutely no choice but to get it a different way. I mean, seriously, how is that possible?
Well, it's very possible. It's not only possible, it's by design. These companies, the cable companies, the cell phone companies, not only do they not care about you, they hate you. Yeah. Like the airlines, they hate you. The more they can aggravate you, the more they enjoy their sick little lives.
All right, I had to move back in to the recording studio, Nick. And this is the one that Nick.
Hey, do we need to give you a few minutes so you could move from one room to the next?
But talking about this, the economic strains on local news have forced local outlets to close, shutter their print edition, or consolidate into major holding groups, often headquarters in faraway cities. Why it matters? As long as the cuts to local news continue, the people in power will get away with murder, so they claim. Veteran New York City TV journalist Errol Lewis told CNN Brian Steller on last Sunday, most recently, billionaire Joe Ricketts' decision to shut down local city coverage of the site DNA Info and Gothamist is in response to employees voting to unionize, has called into questions how local news outlets can survive through conflicting business interests of ownership. The cuts are the latest of local coverage setbacks this month. The Houston Press has effectively closed down. The Baltimore City paper, a 40-year-old publication, published its last issue November 1st. And I'm saying, I mean, great, guys, you know, yeah, let's unionize. And, you know, this didn't happen probably overnight. The company probably said, no, we don't want to do it. And, okay, we're going to do it anyway. And now you don't have a job, period. How did you help yourself by trying to unionize? Who did you help? So if stations, and here Mike is talking about, you know, we never watch Channel 5. We never watch Channel 11 here because they're so skewed. They choose to do that. They're no longer really local. If you watch, most of the stories are national, not local. If you give me local news, straight out, just report what's going on, that's one thing. But when you're trying to become and try to compete with the national stations that are talking about everything from anywhere and international, forget it. People are just going to get tired of it.
That's unfortunately the problem causes the other problem, because it's so expensive to have these people on the ground doing reporting.
Mm-hmm.
They have no choice but to play packages from their affiliate. So it's a cause and effect thing. I don't know how expensive it is to produce a local newscast, but I would imagine it's quite expensive. They've got reporters all over the place. It's quite an expensive venture.
But Nick, remember, if you look, even your station in Wilmington, your main stations, they have vehicles. Over here, the two stations, I mean, they have helicopters, they have reporters all over, if you want to call them reporters, all over the place, vehicles coming at the wazoo. I mean, you know, you can't drive around town without seeing one of them. But yet, the news is not local. It doesn't have a local flavor. And in that case, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. In that case, it's not going to appeal to me.
Well, exactly. The local news I used to watch up in New York, there was three main news channels, and the NBC affiliate was, they played, it was almost all exclusively local news, and they were the most, and they were the award-winning newscast every year. They were the most watched newscast because it was local. And then you flip over to the CBS or ABC affiliate, and half the news is the big stories, and the other half is just pre-produced packages that ABC News sends to all the affiliates across the country.
No.
Because local news gathering is so freaking expensive. So I don't know what the solution is here. It seems like these local affiliates are kind of screwed.
Here's something else that I don't say. Hey, Mike? Is Mike not here? Yeah. Channel 13 or whatever. The WRAZ, right? They're owned by Channel 5. By Capital Broadcast.
They used to be Channel 50 before Digital,
right.
Fox 50, WRAZ.
But they identify themselves as the Fox. As Fox programming.
Okay.
Well, how come they're so skewed to the left? You don't see anything on their news that is giving
Fox
a balance.
News and Fox News and Fox TV are not the same thing. They're owned by the same company, but they're completely different. And the other thing they know is that as soon as Fox can get rid of Hannity and Tucker Carlson, they're gone.
Well,
what's the guy's name? The guy who started it, Malcolm. What's his name? Ford. Who started Fox? Matt, what's his name?
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Anyway, his two sons are taking over, and they're progressives, way beyond liberal.
Huh. But anyway, that's
Murdoch.
Murdoch. Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
Murdoch's
but you see, it's a matter of, Nick. It's a matter. You're right. You know, it is expensive. It does take a lot of resources. But when you have the resources, use them the right way. And the other thing that is, I don't know why it's going. Mike, what is this having the news from 4 until 6:30? And it's just there, you regurgitate.
That's all they do. But see, remember, I mean, that's just a business decision from a programming perspective. There was a big competition between the stations, which one gets to the news first, because the idea is that when somebody comes home from the office or whenever they wake up for the day, whatever they were going to do, they go in and turn on the first news and they leave it on there through the entire news block, which is where the stations get their ratings. I mean, they have no control over whether NBC has better shows than CBS. The only thing they can control is their local propaganda. So they started earlier in the day. That's one approach. The second approach is that once they have written these listen to me, once they've written these propaganda pieces and put the labor and the money into doing that, they can just regurgitate it over and over and over again, and that makes programming cheaper for them.
Plus the affiliate packages. I mean, if you were able to tune into 10 NBC affiliates at the same time at 5:00 to watch their news, you would most likely see the same, especially if there's a big national story like a shooting or something like that, you would see the same package cut by NBC in New York played on all those affiliates. Because at some point, why would a local news station try to cut a package for a national issue when NBC is going to provide it for?
Right, especially when you go at 6:30 and you have the national news.
Well, and then you see the same damn package rerun. It's the same package that they run in the national news too.
But and they're going to all have the same slant to it.
Yeah, that's what's killing them, I think.
No, they're not killing. They're not killing. They don't know any better. They think they're. We were talking in chat about David Crabtree a while ago. For anyone who doesn't know, he's been there forever and ever and ever. He took Charlie Gaddy's place, and whenever Crabtree started, he was fairly neutral. And from there, he caught on to the thing, just like whenever the weather guy was indoctrinated for global warming and all that crap, they brainwashed him. And but I was talking to Crabtree in a restaurant one day, and they had just started this gravitation to the left before it became a rocket to the left. And I said, "Why are you doing this, David?" He said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Why are you guys going towards the left?" He had some person with him, I don't know who it was, and he said, "You think I'm taking a liberal approach to this?" And I said, "Yes." He just kind of chuckled, and he said, "Boy," I forget where he came from, Colorado or somewhere. He said, "Boy, my friends back in Colorado would be stunned to hear someone say I'm a liberal." And I said, "Well, I'm just telling you what the perception is, whether you want to admit it or deny it." He said, "Well, I'll tell you what you do." He said, "If you ever hear me say or do anything that you consider blatantly liberal, I want you to contact me and tell me so I'll know it." And within a day or two, he did, and I contacted him and never heard from him again.
This is the liberal bubble. This is the.
Yeah.
My point is, they don't get it.
No, they're in a cloud. They're in a bubble. They're in their own little world. It doesn't touch anybody else, and they hate everybody that is outside of that world.
So, and it's at least for now, it's free market. They can do whatever they want to do. If they want to go down that trash. What I don't understand is the business aspect of it. If I were a solid liberal or even progressive, and I saw that all my competition was leftist like they are, I'd go to the right just to get part of the market that they're leaving on the table.
Well, that's what Sinclair is doing, and Alan brings up
that's
Sinclair. Yeah.
Sinclair. What does that tell you about what Alan said? Read what Alan said.
It says, I saw an expose on an outfit called Sinclair. They do a show called In the Media, something with the media. There's a guy that does it, and he is constantly getting crucified over his thing. Sinclair is see, this is, you know what though? I've got to give Sinclair credit. If you watch some Sinclair newscasts, they're pretty liberal, which in my opinion is a good thing, because that means Sinclair is not mandating that these news teams do what they want, which of course it's not on my side, but clearly the big broadcasting companies like who owns the Washington Post?
Whoever.
No, the guy that owns
Amazon. But it's owned by
Bezos.
Damn it, what's the name of the company? God damn it. Nevertheless, whoever owns it. And clearly they're pushing their liberal agenda on people. Sinclair's not doing that. They're not pushing their conservative newscast on their affiliates, which I've got to respect. They're letting their affiliates run the way they want.
If you look at, I just did a search on Sinclair, and one of the first things that pops up is a Mother Jones news story. Ready for Trump TV? Inside Sinclair Broadcasting's plot to take over your local news.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is what's so funny about it. I remember somebody saying, reading a blog recently, so Fox News represents maybe top 3 or 4 million viewers, while the rest of the broadcast news commands over 100 million. What are they so worried about? Why are they so sensitized where you have one cable channel that gets 3.5 to 4 million people when the rest of the bubble? They just don't. Well, you know what?
It's not worth wasting time talking about it.
Sorry.
Just turn them off.
Yeah. I misspoke. Gannett, which is a local company. They own USA Today. I think they own the most TV stations across the country.
Yeah,
not local stations.
I was wondering what you were talking about with Sinclair.
Yeah, so Gannett is a similar. Gannett is like Sinclair, but on the other side, and they clearly push their liberal views down to their affiliates, and I've got to really give Sinclair credit for not. If they're letting local newscasts run whatever bias they want, which is fine. If in Alabama, ABC 3340, who's owned by Sinclair, wants to run a liberal newscast, go for it. I'm glad that Sinclair's not pushing that down on affiliates. There's nothing worse than that.
All right, guys.
There's one more thing here that I want to get.
What, do you think this is your show?
Yeah. Listen to this. It's along the same line. According to the results of a recent study that looked at the 250 million edits made on Wikipedia during the first 10 years, only 1% of Wikipedia's editors have generated 77% of the site's content. Wikipedia is both an organization and a social movement. The director of Purdue University Data Storytelling told the author. The assumption is that it's a creation of the crowd, but this couldn't be further from the truth. Wikipedia wouldn't have been possible without a dedicated leadership. At the time of writing, there are roughly 132,000 registered editors who have been active on Wikipedia in the last month. There are also an unknown number of unregistered Wikipedians who contribute to the site. So statistically speaking, only about 1,300 people are creating over 3/4 of the 600 new articles posted on Wikipedia every day. So they make you think. That's why we always said before, that you can't believe everything on Wikipedia because it's not really a crowd.
Sure, it's a crowd, but they control who's in the crowd.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's true. Yeah. But 77% of the site's content is 1% being generated by the editors there. 1% of it. So All right, I just want to get that.
Well, Wikipedia, unlike Snopes, Wikipedia is reliable in many cases.
They are.
When they're not trying to forward an agenda, they're pretty reliable. But it's just like anything else. If you pick up a book and read it, you better follow the money and figure out what the agenda is behind it and make an intelligent decision from that. Don't just blindly accept anything anybody from either side hands you.
Even us. All right. That was a good show. Thank you, guys. Anything anybody else wants to add? Is Jorvik still here?
No, he left.
Oh. Anybody wants to add anything? Nope. Going once? Going twice? All right. Thanks, Mike, Spence, Nick. Jorvik. Who am I missing? I can't see down there. No, that's it. Good morning, Hannah, Kathy, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope maybe you learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And while you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Nick, you doing a show tonight? Nick? I guess he does.
Muted and gone.
Tonight at 7, Nick Craig hosts Against the Norm on Wilmington's Big Talker 106.7, and you can listen to it on TuneIn. See you, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.